Nah, they don't talk to me about Mugia. He with another like network or some shit. I don't know what the fuck he on. But what's popping? 160 with.
I'm just trying to figure out what we're doing. Because you know,
you want to fight?
we both got fights. No, it's all love. That's my man.
We can skip the shit.
Box. We're not scared of no human on earth.
Please call these people out. Listen, the whole world's looking at you. Call these people out,
What's up? It's the Jermall the Hitman Charlo. Let's get it. Who want it?
Name them names, man.
They know who they is.
Name them names, please. The names need to be named.
They know who they is.
Which leaves Demetrius Andrade. Any interest in a unification fight there maybe towards the end of this year?
For sure, he got a belt. Yeah, let's go get him. He talking, and he gonna run right into some, you know, we about that. Like, I'm ready. Like, don't worry about none of that. Like, we gonna take care. We gonna clean up the division. I want to get Golovkin in the ring. I want to bring him to Houston. You know what I'm saying? I want to get Canelo out here to Houston.
Stop the cap.
I am tired. I mean tired of Jermall Charlo calling out people, saying he's not scared of this or that. Like Tony Harrison said.
Convince everybody like he just solid. I'm just the toughest in the world. Oh, I just do this. Oh, I knock this out. Oh, I shoot this. I kill that. Man, shut up, please.
And not making the big fights happen. On June 18th, he's going to fight Maciej Zelensky. Who? Oh, that guy. But in all seriousness, this guy calls out everybody, says he's not scared of nobody, and nothing ever happens. It's almost like the PBC effect. So I'm going to go out on a limb today and say that Charlo's career is at its peak now. Certainly at his athletic peak right now. I believe he fights a few more fights and then retires, or fights a big fight, loses, and retires. He's already robbed the bank. He has no initiative to take on a big fight. So I believe that's all we will see from Jermall Charlo. That's how his career will go. Based on that, today we're here to rate his career as a fighter based on everything he's done in the boxing ring and stylistically how he fights. I can't say out of the ring because he's never been in trouble. But from A to F, where does he rank as a fighter? You see, Charlo and his twin brother Jermall started boxing at the age of 7 when they followed their dad into the gym. They picked it up pretty quickly. Charlo had 71 fights, 65 wins, 6 losses as an amateur. And then at the tender age of 17, he became a professional, which is very young in the States. I don't even know if it's legal, honestly. But he became a pro at 7. Coming up, Charlo had what you call, like most professionals, a padded record. What does that mean? That means when he started back in 2008, he fought a lot of guys that, to put it nicely, boxing wasn't their passion. Maybe these guys took a short-term fight here, or promoter needed a fighter, and he pulled one from the security team, or the promoter's Uber driver got pushed into the fight. Anyways, this is the competition that Charlo fought from 2008 till 2013. This is where he had his first big fight against Mexico's journeyman Orlando Lara, and he passed that fight with flying colors. Took him a little longer than other people would have knocked Lara out, but he still knocked him out. He would continue fighting some guys that were a journeyman for a while until he finally got a title shot at then 42-year-old Cornelius K9 Bunridge. Bunridge had been stopped before in the first round by other lesser fighters, but he was somehow champion. And when Charlo got in there, he made short work of him. Charlo was kind of unknown at the time, so people were kind of impressed. I mean, K9 beat, I think, Carlos Molina, and he had some legit wins. Corey Spinks, so shout out K9. But anyways, Jermall knocked him out in 3 rounds. It was kind of impressive at the time. Finally, we're talking about 2016. Maybe Charlo's most impressive years. From 16 to 2018. The first guy on the score sheet was Austin No Doubt Trout. Austin No Doubt Trout at the time had been beaten by Canelo and Lara. I mean, Lara made him do the splits. Canelo made him dance good too. But when he fought Charlo, they went to war. Charlo rocked him here and there and vice versa, but it was an all-out war. However, it was still Austin Trout. Austin Trout was a demon back in the day before he fought Canelo. Nobody wanted to fight him. Kirkland, nobody wanted to fight him, and he was the boogeyman at one point. By this time, he had already been exposed, though, but Charlo did beat him. And then, in my opinion, his most impressive win to date was against Julian J-Rock Williams. The next fight, 6 months later.
Fight me now. Either fight me or vacate, Jermall. Stop being a girl and step up. Getting all that free money. Stop being a girl and step up and fight me.
J-Rock, at the time, 154 was stacked. Both Charlo twins were there. J-Rock was there. Lara was there. Canelo was there. Perangulo, I know people like, oh, Perangulo. No, he was good at the time. So everybody was in that weight class. And so was Jarrett Hurd, a bunch of up-and-coming dudes that hadn't lost. But people thought J-Rock was like the special guy. And when he fought Charlo, it certainly seemed that way at the beginning. But then we found out that A, Charlo hits hard as fuck, and B, maybe J-Rock's chin's not made out of rock like his nickname suggests. And Charlo stopped him. He made him dance, and that was really impressive because nobody had beaten J-Rock at the time. I don't know if it means much now. I mean, J-Rock has been beaten by a few dudes, most importantly by Vladimir Hernandez. No offense, shout out Vladimir. But the argument can be made that J-Rock hasn't been the same fighter since that fight. A year later, he would take out Hugo Centeno Jr. in brutal fashion. I thought this was kind of impressive. I mean, I never seen Charlo knock out a guy like that, but he did. So that was kind of cool to watch. Shout out Centeno. Finally, in 2018, Charlo would move up to 160. And his first opponent was Matt Korobov, in a card where his brother had been beaten previously. His brother lost to Tony Harrison, and then Charlo had to go out there and fight Matt, the Russian, and the fight was a really good one. To give you kind of an idea what happened, Charlo ate more left hands than Jeffrey Dahmer, over and over and over again. He looked very bad. At one point, Matt Korobov had an injury to one of his shoulders and really couldn't fight the same. The later stretch of the fight, definitely Charlo took over. But Matt did a lot at the beginning, and a lot of people thought Matt beat Charlo. I'm one of them. Anyways, pack up. We'll look better next time. And Charlo went down in competition to do that. He fought Brandon Adams and Dennis Hogan, who, no offense guys, but they're journeymen. And he looked good against both. Stopped Dennis Hogan. I mean, Tim Tszyu stopped him a lot faster, but it is what it is. He still beat him. And I guess if it's worth anything, Dennis Hogan gave Munguiaz a lot of problem. Now, Charlo would probably fight his biggest foe to date in Sergey Derevchenko. If you remember Sergey Derevchenko, he's a tough, quote-unquote, punching bag. If you guys remember Sergey, he gave Gennady Golovkin a lot of problems. So that win for Charlo meant something. For what we've spoken right now, I think Charlo's biggest wins were J-Rock and Sergey. Those were his biggest victories to date. He looked impressive. He didn't let Sergey fight his fight and outboxed him. Then after that, he would fight Mexico's Juan Macias Montiel. Montiel was kind of unknown. I mean, he's known for taking out Kirkland pretty good, but he made his name in this fight. The fight was very close. Charlo rocked Montiel, Montiel rocked Charlo, and it was a very even fight. So from all these fights that I talked about at 160, Charlo hasn't looked very impressive. That's why he's fighting Maciej Zelensky, because he still wants to look impressive before he fights any big names. He's unsure of himself. So if I had to rate his wins as a fighter, I would say they're average from a contender. They're not really championship quality. If you look at a guy like Demetrius Andrade, who's also a champion in that weight class, WBO, has fought better competition. Vanes Martirosyan and Willie Nelson are probably better wins than J-Rock. And he's already beaten that guy that Charlo's about to fight too, for what it's worth. And Demetrius Andrade is a fighter who isn't really known by the casual fans for exactly that reason. He hasn't gotten the big names. Though in Andrade's case, people might be ducking him. So it's funny that people know Charlo more than they know Andrade, even though Andrade has fought better competition. Well, that's his career. I think I would give this, if I had to rate it from A through F, probably a C. I don't think he's fought quality opponents yet to date. Like I said, on paper, his biggest win is J-Rock. So now Jermall, physically, he's got good height, 5'11", good arm reach. He's very strong, and I would say even powerful. He hits pretty hard. Hand speed is normal. I wouldn't say too fast, too slow, but he's got really good reflexes too. He's very durable. I've seen him eat, like I said, a lot of left hands, and he's never really buckled, maybe once or twice. He's got pretty good feet, so he's got good physical attributes. So now Jermall, stylistically, he fights very similar to his brother. The only difference is he's very aggressive. Jermall walks you down, goes forward, and basically looks for counters and openings to throw haymakers. He's not very active. He doesn't throw many punches. He uses his jab mostly. As soon as the opening is there, he'll fire that right hand. That's pretty much his style. He's a dangerous fighter because that right hand comes anytime when you don't expect it. But there isn't too many dimensions to Jermall. When he's covering, when he's defending, he just covers up, shells up, lets you swing, gets out of the way, and then pressures you. So basically, he's just kind of a puncher that's always looking for that big shot. Nothing more to it. He doesn't set up traps, he looks for openings, and that's pretty much it. So stylistically, I think that's the reason why he hasn't fought big names and why he's having wars with all these fighters he should be knocking out. He's got the physical attributes, but he's missing the skill set. So honestly, I don't think he's that great of a fighter. He just hasn't fought the right person yet. And on and on. So I think at 160, where he's fighting guys his size, take his power and can dish it out too, that's why he's having issues. With all this, physically, stylistically, I would still rate him at a C. So how would Jermall be remembered? I believe for people in this generation, we've seen Jermall talk and talk and talk and talk and never take the big fights. I think his prime years are here, and they won't last very long. They'll go before he knows it. He'll continue to fight these guys that suck, and eventually, I hope it leads up to a big fight with one of the premier fighters, like a Benavidez or Canelo. And I believe if Charlo loses a fight like that, he'd retire. He's made a lot of money, and he has no reason to take big challenges if he's always making money fighting easy fighters. I think he's going to be known for ducking everybody in this generation, honestly, sadly. On paper, he'll look good, future generations, fought a lot of people like I've exposed to really nothing incredible. Not like Jermall, who just knocked out Castaño and has been challenging himself. I believe Jermall Charlo had the bigger name, but now Jermall has surpassed him by a lot and will continue so. Anyways, please subscribe, hit the notification. Let's keep talking this boxing shit.